Hey guys, what's going on? All right, we've kind of got an interesting podcast tonight. You guys know that I've been talking about October 15th. We've talked about this, God, since what, July? Maybe August? I'm sorry if you totally hear my daughter in the background. She's playing with them. Do you guys remember those old, like, white, multicolored phones that had, like, the little, like, spin dial and everything? Yep, she has my old one. Like, that's literally ancient. So that's what you might be hearing in the background. Anyway, so what you guys will be finding tonight, I actually have Radio to Saturn on with me tonight because she's been on the same, sorry guys, give me one sec. I am so sorry. She's sassy today. Give me one sec, guys. She's going through this time where she doesn't want to be left, so this makes this very interesting at this point. Anyway, so we've been talking about this whole October 15th and the massive walkouts and everything. Like, we've been talking about that for a while, right? And so Radio and I got to talking today because she's on the same wavelength as me. Like, I didn't think it was that big of a thing because, I didn't get to dive into it like she has. I've been diving into other things. So, it became a instance where it just kind of fell off my radar. But, Hambone, he stayed on it. So we all, I guess, actually the three of us got to talking today. And this is something we kind of want to bring awareness to just to be safe, right? Like I always say, like, if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong in these instances, then the worst case scenario is that you guys are super prepared. That's the worst case scenario, right? I don't ever want this to come off as like a fear mongering or I'm trying to scare you guys. Like, it's just things that, we see, and, economically it could actually happen. It is, got 4 kids, don't worry about it. I am so sorry, guys. It's that 2.5-year-old phase. But anyway, so economically standing, like, it's just something to kind of keep a lookout for, right? And so why this affects us, and I'm going to go down a very quick rundown, and I want Radio to kind of come in and kind of pick this up, because she's seeing through the bullshit, right? And that is kind of, I don't even know, amazing to, I'm over here in this realm looking at my mind map and looking at the big money and how the money's going and following the money. And she's over here like, hey, we need to look at this because they're trying to put up a smoke screen. And they do that, right? Like, we know they do that. And so, back in, June, July or so, we brought up the fact that there was this global phenomenon that was getting ready to occur on October 15th, where everybody was like, all the retailers, all the regular just workers were going to basically strike. Like, they were just going to walk out. They weren't going to be doing anything. They said, screw the big man. We are going to just leave. And so, like I said, Hambo and I, we caught wind of that middle of summer, and we just kind of fell by the wayside because the subreddit had died off. Well, Radio and her detective skills has actually found out where they've been doing, because if you look all over Google, if you look all over the internet, they basically are like, oh, these people aren't organized, they're not doing anything. Well, they're not organizing in front of everybody. They're not doing it. And so it's still a very, very big possibility that it's going to happen. And why is this important? Well, if you don't have people to drive the trucks, we have this whole thing where Southwest tried to, say, oh, it was bad weather, that's why we didn't have flights going. No, not that the air traffic controllers had just literally like walked out in Jacksonville, and pilots are planning on doing the same damn thing. And maybe in a different sense, but they'll probably all just like, call in sick on the same day, and, whatever. So if we have people not going into work, people that, our country relies on to get goods and services to, throughout the world, this puts a very, very quick stop to what's going on. And those goods that we pay for, we went to Sam's today, and what should have cost maybe $250, $300, it was over $400 today, guys. And I'm not, and this is just trying to just, replenish our stock, because, we've been rotating out our, anything that needed to be, used up or eaten or anything, that shelf life, we were rotating it out. And so we had to go replace it. And I will tell you, I don't know how many people actually saw it at Sam's. We, toilet paper at our Sam's, gone. Paper towels, gone. Paper plates, almost gone. They had tissues and they had napkins. Okay. Our daughter's she's ready to move into the next size for pull-ups, thank God, because the size of pull-ups that she usually wears was gone. And it's just, it's amazing to see, what is just obliterated. Fresh produce was gone. Like, there was really nothing at Sam's. And so, it's going to get interesting. So, Radio, I'm going to invite you up. I'm going to invite you to speak so that you can actually touch more on this, because I think from what you found, the story that they want to tell versus what actually may be happening is pretty vital. And I do applaud you once you decide to come up. I do applaud you for wanting to talk about this. Yeah, stock up if you can, 100%. It's, whether it's, the 15th or by the end of the year, with all these containers and everything still sitting out in the water, like, guys, I'm legit sketched out with a lot of this, because, the vaccine mandates, cool. Texas just said, screw you. We're not doing the mandate because the governor, love it or hate it, the governor's saying like if we force people to get these mandatory vaccines, they're just gonna walk. They're not gonna work. Like the people have chosen their health or their livelihood, and I think that's incredible. It's a phenomenon that we've never seen. So, radio, thank you for joining me.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm gonna turn you down, actually.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Yes, definitely had a weird day. I've had a few weird days so far, this week or two. I'll try to give you guys some background. I don't know, Kenna, is this group like, with Twitter, I have to be really careful about like, like freaking people out, or they're like,
We're
I
pretty
don't want
open
you guys
minded.
to read.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
They are used to me basically saying, yes, the world is fucked up and it's okay. We're gonna make it through. So
Okay.
yeah, no, they're good. They're
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Great. So first, yeah, let's just talk about I won't do like the warm up that I would normally do for my spaces because I like really have to ease everybody into like I have to give a bunch of context before I like kind of drop anything big so they don't like run away. And some of them still do. I'll say something and then like that's kind of scary, and then I'll watch people kind of like drop off. But anyhow, so we won't go through all the context that I would normally give, but yeah, I'm Caroline. I've been in IT for 20 years. I know a lot about blockchain, crypto, and I went into the Twitter space as just like I would say like just a liberal, smug, overconfident simpleton, totally sheltered, and like where I've come out on the other side is like I wouldn't say paranoid. I think that's a term that we've really normalized to kind of separate the people who are um, they're just like fine with how everything's going. It's like if you say like, "Hey, this feels weird. This seems weird," everybody goes, "Oh, QAnon, paranoia, conspiracy theory," and I think that's a huge problem, and that's actually like hopefully by the time I'm done talking, you guys will see like um, how that type of narrative is really dangerous because it shelters 50% of the population from really looking at or even questioning what's going on. And that's part of our freedoms, right? That's we're allowed to question, we're allowed to ask, we're allowed to, freedom of speech. I mean, it's all there in the Constitution so that people can see things and make up their own mind. So, but it's kind of it's been flipped. So, and I guess I'll tell you what I mean by that. So Republican, Democrat, I don't really care what you are, but I've always been Democrat. Like I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal. I feel very confident in that. My parents, I grew up in rural Southern Oregon. They're very right wing, and fringe, as they say, which I'm starting to reject all those words. Um, and me and my mom have had lots of conversations. I'm like, Mom, you sound God. She's like, my money's under my mattress. I'm like, oh, geez. Um, so yeah, where I'm at today is I'm very scared of my government. I'm questioning what they're doing. I'm very, very concerned. So I'll kind of like lead you through kind of the most recent events that I've seen play out and like where we're at today and like how what I think that you guys should do. So yeah, I started researching. I was in it for GameStop, obviously, and then I had just recently got my blockchain certification, and right away, as soon as I got into the Twitter space, I started just picking up on just an overall like blockchain and crypto like drama, like people being like kind of hostile, sarcastic, and a lot of shill activity. A lot of people just like talking shit, and it's like you say Ethereum, and you get this XRP person that jumps in. I'm like, man, this is like really heating up. What's going on? So I started to figure out like who had what funding behind which blockchains and like which groups wanted which crypto to win and for what reason. And I started looking at that and it became like incredibly complex because like at the same time I started looking at it because I was picking up on like just this climate, like this hostile climate. Um, Gary Gensler started regulating. Um, there's all this news about, Coinbase doesn't get to do this. This person does get to do this. And then people start talking about, global reserve currency. And I was like, holy crap, is this a race for a new reserve currency? So I'm like digging. and I mean, been doing this for a month because I mean, the way that I work is like, everything, something just feels off, like to me, like something's going on, and like there's so much corruption. Like, what does this all mean? Like, and what is happening right now where all this stuff is coming up at the same time, right? Like, are we at war? Is the dollar going away? Is the petrodollar going away? Like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, I started looking at all that, and I started identifying the blockchains. Like, Solana is a hedge fund, backed. It's got a lot of money behind it. No developers, but they've got money. You've got like there's a secret blockchain, and they've got like secret agents, and that one's owned by Steve Cohen at 0.72. And then you've got you've got Cardano, which I'm pretty sure is the World Economic Forum's backed blockchain, but their funding is like really hidden. And you've got Ethereum out here, and I call them like a beacon of hope, because the way that they built themselves is like it can never be owned, it can't be shut down, it's totally decentralized, and they call it like the world's computer. Like, even if somebody came in and they said, "Hey, like we're in charge now, like that's ours," like even if they wanted to say that, it's not possible because the decentralization doesn't allow for it. So yeah, you've got all these players, and then let's see. So yeah, started looking at that, started talking about it, and then somewhere I came, and I won't go too deep into the details, but I stumbled upon this date. Like, everything I was looking at was pointing me to the end of August, or at the end of October. Like, all the dates I was seeing kept bringing me back to end of October, and so I was like, God, it seems like with, Ethereum's doing all this stuff, and then all these banknotes that I'm seeing, these 424B2 forms that are being submitted, they all have these execution dates of October 27th. Like, what is going down on this date? So I started focusing on that, um started poking around, and I stumbled upon this I stumbled upon the cyber pandemic, which was I had never heard of cyber pandemic before, and I started digging around, and it was a speech by Klaus Schwab from World Economic Forum, and he's basically saying, like, cyber pandemic. I'll try to do the internet has always been, no, I'm just kidding. He's talking about, I call him a Nazi because I'm like, I try to be extreme so that people will look at my stuff. I'm like, look, there's a Nazi, you guys come see what I'm saying. No. um Anyhow, he's up there, and he's basically, it's like fear, 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 internet, fear, fear, fear. And he's basically saying that, like, what's going to happen to the internet is like nothing we've ever seen before. And these hackers, in quotes, are so insidious that, like, they might even be able to attack the power grids. And I was like, that is a really fucking weird thing to say. Like it's now I look at everything like, what is the message? But what, like, out of that message, like, what do they want us to take from it? And like, what did they stand to gain from us believing that message? Like, that's how I see everything right now. So I was like, God, that's a weird thing to say. Like, I mean, power grids are like kind of hard to attack. And like, I mean, if you wanted to attack all of them and like really limit them, I mean, they're redundant. I was like, why would he say that? So I started looking around, and I'm like, is anybody else talking about cyber pandemic? And yeah, there's a lot of people. And a lot of people in the R Conspiracy subreddit, which I was really careful about. I have gone down a few rabbit holes, but I always try to um, ground myself in facts and like science. But I've certainly gone down rabbit holes. And also, I'm vaccinated. So and I've seen a lot of the stuff out there about the vaccine. And but I'll tell you at the end where I stand on that. Um, so yeah, I went out on Google, and I just started Googling October 27th, power outage. And I started coming up on all this noise surrounding power outages. And I saw some articles like, Democracy Now!, like all these human rights watch organizations. And what they're all saying is, we've seen an increase in the last year, like we've seen a 50% increase in government initiated blackouts. Like, it's being used as a method to silence dissent, right? So, oh, civil unrest over here in whatever little country, shut them down. Shut them down until they're sorry, or we'll turn them back on. And when they come back on, they're going to have, the leader that we choose, and they're going to follow our rules, and they're just going to take what we're going to give them because we're going to show them that we control it all, right? And they don't have internet, so they can't really tell anybody what's going on. It's really like a super frightening tactic for control. So I started seeing that people are talking about this, like that it's just something that everybody's doing. And we did it to Venezuela. Like I didn't know that. Like I it's not in my news, but we know about the news, and like I personally know a lot more about mainstream media now. It's like, okay, you guys have never talked about the things that are really important, but what are you talking about? Like, what are the things that like you're trying to spoon feed us? And I mean, first of all, it's COVID and it's a vaccine, right? Every headline is fear, 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 COVID, vaccine, fear, fear, fear. So it really made me question, like, if I know that these truthful things are not being reported and they're talking about, like, all they want to do is talk about this other thing, like, what does that mean to me? So anyway, I started looking at just power outages in general, and I saw that, like, yeah, it's a huge fucking problem. We're just going around, and when I say we, it's like the proverbial we. It's more like the U.S. with whoever our partner is, or let's say we own this guy over in this country, and he's like indebted to us, and like we're like pull it until we get what we want. So, um, huge increase. Okay, so then I'm like, why would all the banks, and the last time I looked, I think there's like 45,000 of these 424B2 forms, and they're being issued by all the world banks. I'm like, what in the friggin' hell are these? Like, and why is this execution date? And I'm like, that is so I'm like, that's not for us. Like, and I was reading the notes, and at first I thought, are they gonna pay us on the 27th? And the notes don't indicate that. Like, I was like, is this a dividend? So anyhow, I don't know how it happened, but I stumbled upon, I might have actually typed in internet apocalypse, but I found these articles for these solar flares. Like, it's like internet apocalypse, like we're being warned that these solar flares could wipe us out for 4+ months, and it would be chaos. Uh and then I see that Biden like donated like several million to prep for these solar flares. So there's like Biden's name's there, and there's some articles, and I'm like, are they gonna fucking shut us down and blame it on a solar flare? I was like, yeah. I mean, if I was a dumb politician with some other bad actors, and I was like, how can we, GameStop's owned globally. Like, we can't just shut down the US because we know that we have shareholders everywhere. Like, how could we pull this off to where, like, we can't take away the buy button? Well, let's just shut everything down. So I kind of like, I kind of hung my hat on that a little bit. Um, and it actually didn't go over well. Like, I tried to talk to some people about it in my real life, and they're like, you need to get some sleep, and whatever sites you're on, like, you need to get out of there. Like, you sound like unhinged, and like it it was problematic. Like, people were like, are you okay? And I think if anybody follows me, you guys have seen, like, I posted one time, if like one more person tells me to sleep and like asks me if I'm okay, I'm gonna fucking block you. Um, so I had to drop it for a little bit because that's the reaction you get. So, um,
Right. No.
yeah,
Rachel, let me
yeah,
let me butt in real quick. So I am
yeah,
showing them some of the links that you sent me, and I found some of my own as well. So I've kind of been going through those. So
yeah,
I do want to um, kind of back up a little bit. So
yeah,
um, so I because I do have some stuff in YouTube
yeah.
as
No,
well.
go
No.
for it.
Yeah.
Go for
Okay.
it.
Okay. Sorry. No.
No,
So
you don't need to be gentle. Just no, just
no. I know, guys. I know it's a lot. It's. And the cyber pandemic, I've only heard that term a couple times, and that dates back to like 2020.
hmm
Um, and so um, I can remember a few people, and I'm not talking about like Alex Jones or any kind of people like that, guys, like different influencers and people kind of saying something about like, oh, the internet might go down, and different like mediums that were all over um, the they were just kind of all over it, and they were like, yeah, it's a possibility that the internet will go down or our power grids will go down, and the government has been very forthcoming about, oh, our power systems, our grids are very good, that no one can take them out, which I don't think they can easily. But that would be the thing, right? Like if they're sitting here saying like, oh, nothing can take our power grids down, and if we go without power, okay, that's a big question, right? And so, this is, they've also talked about, I think you were like, I was showing him the FEMA, where they're going offline. Their scheduled maintenance from the 13th through the 15th. And so emergency broadcast services gone. Like they won't be putting them out. So God help us.
That's not scary at all.
God help us if we have hurricanes or wildfires or major floods or any kind of big thing where they have to send out an emergency broadcast. That's like, hey, you need to get out. What the actual F? So there's just a lot of stuff, that ties into this, right? And so I know for those that haven't heard radio before, she talks very fast. She's from the West Coast. I'm from Florida, so I talk just a little bit slower. I get it. So yeah, it's and she has all this information that's in her head, and I know it sounds like a lot. I do know that, and it's just been one of those. It's been one of those days. Like it has been one of those days, and this doesn't count for things that she has going on in her personal life. So I do want to put that out there. And let's see, Derek says, yeah, I've heard about the solar flares. I'm calling FUD on that. Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, they've been saying solar flares for years.
Agree.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, John, don't act like that. You can bring it like she can. What? I don't know. And some people, so I will say, cause you do say like a lot. And it's just
I can't help it.
Yeah. It's a nervous tick. Not even a nervous, it's a thinking tick, right? Like whenever you're trying to figure out what to say, cause I do like people say, that's when you're trying to figure out your thoughts, when there's so much, because how I try to tell people my thoughts, I'm sure you might be like the same way, radio. I have a bunch of ping pong balls in my head all the time, ricocheting off of each other, and trying to figure out, like, find that one that I'm trying to keep track of. It's almost impossible most days, because I'm just like, okay, where'd it go? Come back here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something like that. Like, there's no need to pick on people for that. That's just unnecessary.
Is that? Somebody said that. I don't give a shit about. Oh yeah, I don't give a shit about that.
I'm calling it out. Let's see. I've been waiting for the terrorist act from hedge funds, billionaires. Oh, speaking of, I don't know how much of this I can say, but Citadel Airs has gotten some paperwork in regards to something. That's all I'm going to say, because it's not my major news to share. But yeah, it's Citadel Air, our own staff member, has had a day, guys. He has had a day for regarding some of his stuff. So I do hope you guys keep him in your thoughts while he's going through the next very stressful 48 hours. It's going to get interesting. You guys will hear all about it, hopefully, as long as the attorneys say that he can talk about it. But it's interesting. He's not in a good place right now in his head. Let's see. If everything is shut down and retail can't trade, what tactics can they use to say the shorts have covered? That's exactly it. Right? They could cover and no one would know, or not cover and still say they did. Like, they can sit there and screw with the system. It's fucked. It is that I hate using that word on live stream. You guys know that, but it is completely effed in the A, and it's ridiculous. Makes no sense for them to do it. No, it's there are. So I will say, living here in Florida, I live in a bubble. I live in a very weird bubble, and it kind of actually struck me today when Radio and I were talking, because think about it. For instance, and we'll forget all this part. Think about how they make us feel in regards to the shorts and how we see the stock market, right? Um, they make us feel crazy, right? They make us absolutely feel crazy. Well, hi, I can attest to the fact that they made every Floridian feel like they were completely batshit for a year and a half for how we do things down here. Oh, Florida's being crazy down there. Florida's, not mandating things, and Florida's getting away with things, and Florida, and they would misrepresent our numbers. Like the biggest thing I can remember is that our own Florida Department of Health, it was a 3-day weekend, and some lazy SOB in Washington or whatever was like, oh, hey, they got us uh, the numbers for the 3-day weekend, and instead of plugging in each individual day, they ran it as like it was a single day worth of numbers, and they were like, oh my god, Florida's having the worst day ever. And I'm going, yeah, no shit, if you put 3 days together. So it's just asinine. And so, you figure Texas and Florida, Montana, Montana and New Hampshire, they don't really get too much flack because, well, yeah, they just don't get much flack. Texas and Florida have gotten so much just BS, and anyone that lives down here, we're just, for the most part, I'll say, we're just like, what the hell? Johnny Rocket, thank you for the $25 super chat. Love me some Bullhouse. Johnny Rocket, you are amazing. You are an amazing human. You know that? I'm just still speechless when you guys do that. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know what to make of. See, that's mine. That is totally my trying to figure out what the hell I'm gonna say. Is I lived in Cali in Florida. People in California think Floridians are crazy and ignorant. Yeah, Derek, they do. And it's it's funny because my sister lives in Cali, and obviously I'm here. My parents are here, and yeah, no, people. I mean, okay. Radio. How do you feel about people in Florida?
Oh, no, I have an answer to that. Yeah, I mean, I fed right into the mainstream stuff. It's like, man, what the hell are these guys doing? Like, what a bunch of hillbillies. Like, don't they read or something? I mean, and that's and like I'm trying to learn, like I'm trying to gain credibility by saying that. Or you might think that, but it is actually true. And it's um like regarding like psyops, like, well, first of all, Florida and Texas, like um if there was if there was anybody that's looking at this and they're seeing what I see and they see what's coming, um, we should, God bless Texas. Like, I mean that for real now. Like, God bless Texas. Like God bless Florida. Like, there are people down there that are saying, hey, like, we're America, and like you can't take that away from us, and like you can take the flag out of my cold dead hands type of thing. Like, I'm like I want to drive down there like by the end of the weekend and just get an Airbnb or something because it is really heating up. And I think that the other night I don't watch the news ever like mainstream news, and I watched it because I wanted to see what it looked like now that I'm like what I would say on this side, and it's not two party. It's like when you look at it from like like if you assume that there's just this propaganda machine that's feeding you whatever narrative they need to get you to move in whatever direction they want. When you're looking at everything from that standpoint, it's mainstream media becomes really interesting. And I caught Rachel Maddow, who I used to think she was so funny. Like, oh my God, look at her go! She just roasted that person. Like, and I was watching it, and she was like, oh my God, look at what Texas is saying. And like, she throws up this thing on the screen, and it's like Texas right now is trying to protect our First Amendment rights. What's happening with Twitter and the censorship, and it's extreme. I mean, like, and it heats up every day. They turn up the dial, and like what happened to my post was, I mean, I woke up and everything that I had worked on for 4 hours last night to communicate this gone, and it scared the shit out of me. And so, yeah, Texas, Florida, they're like, hey, we're going to protect our constitutional rights. And if you don't like it, you can fuck off. And, but Rachel Maddow's like, can you believe that these people live in our country? Like, who are these people? And I was like, holy shit. Like, I've been listening to this for years and I've been like, yeah, get them. And it's like, And I'm not saying all the politicians in Texas are great and Florida's always been perfect or anything, but um, I'm on their side right now. Like I wish I fucking lived there. I'm proud. I'm proud that they're
I
doing
mean,
that
you can
because
you can always move. You can always no. I
yeah,
and then
yeah.
so I did see Yimmer, your governor actually made some of the best early moves of any state in the nation in regards to the pandemic. So, and that's what's actually really interesting, Yimmer, is that early on, even for someone like me who can kind of try to see through the crap, you know, you don't know what's going on. And for anyone that's been around, like you guys know, I worked through H1N1. When that was going rampant, I started into the medical field. And, so if they're sitting here saying, oh, it's worse than H1N1, and where I had lost patients, I had lost a little boy. And I remember that. I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this. But then, I start researching, like, okay, what is this? What are they trying to do? Why are they using ventilators? Why aren't they, there's so many unanswered questions so very early on. And then my sister gets it, and, I see how her treatment was and what they were doing. Like, why were they converting garages into, COVID units? Like, that's so screwed up, right? And so I don't know. So we were, people that live here in Florida, we were actually pretty upset at first with how Governor DeSantis was running things. We were like, unemployment was a mess. Our system, thank you, Rick Scott, by the way, for our unemployment systems being completely from the 1970s. It was a mess. So, anyone trying to get assistance or anything like that, it was complete chaos down here. But at the end of the day, yeah, looking back, it is actually, I think it came, I want to say it was probably November to January of last year, November of last year into January of this year. Hambone and I both were pretty well versed in what was going on and how we felt about a lot of things. We'd researched what was going on with the vaccines. We'd, kind of caught up to speed on our own thoughts and beliefs and whatnot. So at that point, we were like, okay, DeSantis made some really awesome moves to protect us as a state, which was pretty cool. As for Phil C., what happened to the last podcast? Halfway through playing, it went private. So I am trying. It should be up probably tonight or tomorrow. I slightly doxed myself. I had to go through it, and I had to blur that section out just for my own safety. I don't know how many people caught it, if anybody caught it. If probably someone probably screenshot it. I don't know. But yeah, I slightly doxed myself. So I blurred it out, and so it should be back up tonight or tomorrow. And you can finish that one. So that's what happened to that one. Governor took a stupid mandate to vaccinate. Oh, yeah. You never met a Cali girl, eh? Oh, no, I have met plenty. Trust me. Sorry, radio. I'm just going to read through these real quick. You guys ever want to go down some rabbit holes, go to Frankie's Meatloaf Lounge on Discord. I don't need any more rabbit holes, guys. Radio, do you need any more rabbit holes?
Fuck no.
I am in a very deep, dark rabbit hole right now. So radio, I don't know if you've been around, but I've updated my mind map. And I'm starting to connect the government with the SEC and COVID and the NIH and everything, and the three CEOs of the CEO of Moderna, Pfizer, and J&J, and then linking also down to the big guys, that big transfer of wealth, so Warren Buffett and Elon and everybody. Yeah. So I have all of them, and this is a very dark rabbit hole that I'm going down.
No, you and I should get together because I can probably. I won't it's still a good exercise, but I won't. We'll get together separate. I'll tell you. What it is.
Well,
I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Well, and I see Citadel Air down there. So Citadel, I kind of gave a snippet that you've been having a day from hell. So if you want to talk about it, you can. But if not, I understand. But yes, he just sent me a message that said, "You doxed yourself on the last podcast. Wow, it's been a stellar week for Bullhouse staff." Yeah, it's been a hell of a week, guys. But yes, radio, we can definitely hook up on that because I'm sure we probably are going down the same exact damn rabbit holes at this point.
Yeah. My sister just walked in, so I'm gonna I want to try to I'll just get to the end of
Oh,
what
yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
the point is real quick, and then I can answer some questions or whatever. And I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. I mean, maybe you guys want to have some time to talk through all of it, and discuss what you think after I hang up too. Do you mind, Kenna? I'll just kind of get through the rest
No,
and then
you go
let you
for it.
guys.
You
Okay,
go for it.
cool.
Totally.
All right, thank you. So yeah, I think somebody said yeah, solar flares FUD. So yeah, so I screwed myself on that one. And the way that I found that out is I was on Reddit because it's the search engines as they start censoring more and more on Google, and they start censoring and like amplifying their message and like oppressing, like suppressing, like I don't want to say the truth, but they're suppressing messages they don't want you to see. It becomes hard to like find good information. So I went to Reddit and I kind of typed it in, and I saw that solar flares did show up, yes, in our conspiracy. And I was like, crap, like I see what I did. Like I took something that there may have been some fact in that, and then I like tied it to this other thing. And I think that probably those articles might have been there so that if somebody did start to pick up on what they think is going on, they might latch onto that, and then you kind of discredit yourself. So anyway, that's kind of beside the point. Just whoever said solar flares FUD, I agree. So I was like, well, crap. Like all right, like let's circle the wagons. Like let's reapproach this again. Um, so I mean, the blackouts and the power outages are still, we know that's real. That is a fact. It's happening all over, and it's happening all over the U.S. right now. Um, so anyway, the other day I was like, all right, I wanna try to get back onto this particular subject and see if I can find anything. So um, I just typed in like power out planned or power outages, right? And I started in my area and started looking around, and I found that there's a lot of scheduled maintenance for like October 14th through the 16th, like, but all on like the 15th for sure. And I'm like, all right, this is weird, like everybody's doing the same scheduled maintenance on the same set of days. And then I was, kind of like seeing like what other stuff is going on at this time. And I found the FEMA, like the EMI framework, and it's like extended 3-day outage, but there's no press release. Like it's just kind of this quiet little message on their site. But it's like not that easy to find. I'm like, all right, so, a lot of people with no power, like emergency broadcast system down. And then I'm like, and I didn't know the date of the general strike. Like I knew it was a thing. I saw Striketober, and I was like, okay, what else has happened on that date? Okay, there's this major strike, and I didn't know. I thought that was a U.S. strike. I thought it was part of our like history of labor organization. And I was like, holy shit, this is all over the world. And kind of like you guys are saying that you've been talking about this, like I didn't know. Like, so it's global and it's massive. And I'm like, holy crap, like where are they organizing? So I won't go into like everywhere I looked, but from the surface, it looks like this group is very unorganized. It looks kind of spammy. It looks if you go on Google right now, like it does not return a lot of results. Every week it returns less and less, and like some of the links take you to, like, it redirects, like some of the links are dead. Like it's very concerning, the amount of censorship that's occurring right now. But um so I'm like, all right, so we've got, worldwide protest, including the US, all major cities. They're all protesting these things, but I know that a lot of it has to do with the mandate. I know that people are really pissed, and they're going to turn off the power, and they're going to turn off the emergency systems. Like, why would they do that? Um, so long story short, and you guys can, if you guys want to, I don't know if there's gamers in here, probably there are, but um, it looks like they're organizing their efforts in the TF2 Classic, the Death and Taxes update. It's like the last update for TF2 Classic. If you download the Classic version and you download the Death and Taxes update, it appears to me that they know, like, even if you talk about it out like online, like your shit's gonna get scrubbed. Like you cannot organize online because it's gonna get censored right away. So they're organizing like inside this game, which is cool as shit. Um, and it also tells me that like whoever created the Death and Taxes version, which was back in like it was a while back, like there are people that know that something is coming and um so yeah, I mean, I think when you look at everything, you look at the evidence, like there there are this is a tactic. We know it's a tactic they're using. We know that we're having all these power issues. Like my mind, I feel way different about like Texas's power outage that they had. Like um it is a tactic that they're using to like punish and control. And if they want us citizens, if they want us to comply and they don't like that everyone's starting to kind of like catch on slowly, like people are like, no, we're not going to do it. Oh, the other thing, go Google what the deadline is to get your mandate to keep your job. It's the 15th. It's the 15th everywhere. The 15th. So it's like pretty much it's like before, before death and after Christ. Like it's like this the 15th is like this pivotal moment. And like I feel like because I know what's happened in Australia, to me Australia was like a dry run. Like we use them as like just a test bed. How can this play out? How will people react? What do we need to plan for? Because you know who's the hardest to do this to? The US,
100%.
Texas, Florida specifically. So they had to find out like what are we going to run into? Like, is there anything that we're missing here? Like we want to, because when we execute it over here, it has to be perfect. So they censored Australia. They put a firewall around Australia. They wouldn't let anybody leave. Australia couldn't leave for 18 months. And you guys see Canada is censoring, content filtering, Saudi, everyone's slowly like firewalls around all the countries.
Oh yeah,
So like
100%.
yeah, it's like and I saw the content filtering for the US before anybody even said anything about it. I was researching like Goldman Sachs and I would click on a link and it would it would like redirect me to a spam page, but the cache had like normal information. It was like Goldman Sachs is in a lawsuit with blah blah, and I click on it and it would go to like it would like this casino page, and this flashy, and I'm like, oh. And at first I thought, oh, God, there's a lot of spam out here. Why would people be doing this? And then I was like, this is how they're content filtering, because if they take you to a 404 or just take you to a dead page, people are like, hey, what's going on with the internet? But if you redirect people to a spam page, people go, oh, weird. And they shrug and they move on, right?
Yeah.
And so we've been being censored for longer than we know. And it's treason to me. It's treasonous. Like my First Amendment rights are absolute. There's no question what they mean. But so I'll I'll kind of end with this. Like um you know how Psyops works, like we know in this space, like GameStop and Reddit subforums, like Psyops, I didn't really know what they were until this whole thing started for GameStop. You know, how you can see how people can change the narrative and get people to shift in the direction you want if you plant certain people or you take a trusted person. You can definitely change the narrative if you have the tactics and you're good at it and you have the right people. And here's what I see, like okay, so let's say that on the right wing side, like they're like, hey, this is weird. These are my rights. Don't touch my rights. And if you want to be in charge, or if you want a certain outcome and you don't like that some people are kind of picking up on what you're doing, the best way to discredit an entire group is you feed them information that has a little bit of truth and a little bit of crazy, okay? Because they're going to pick it up and they're going to feel like 100% they know what it is, and they're going to say, oh my gosh, this person is actually a Russian agent, but this guy's a reptile. And it's like everybody's like, what the hell, so discredited across the board. And now if those people say, hey, this vaccine stuff feels kind of weird, why is it so forceful, everybody goes, boo, anti-science, you're dumb, right? So and then while you do that, you gas up the other side and go, you guys are really smart. Like you went to college, right? So now the people that were kind of seeing the truth a little bit, done. They're done for. And then you take mainstream media and then you continue to berate them and tease them about how dumb they are. And whatever they're saying, that done for. And then just keep the liberals happy and tell them how smart they are. you've got it. But here's the thing. Um, Everybody knows that what's going on feels really weird. The censorship is intense. The vaccine mandates are intense. Everything is intense and it's really fast and it feels very sudden. And my final thesis, you guys, is just that these protests are going to play out. I think there's a lot of people involved. They're organizing, I want to say underground, but it's really, and I don't know about Myanmar and these other countries, but I think people are organizing in their own way. But if at least the U.S., they're organizing in a couple video games. um, but they are going to play out, and at least for my city, you guys can check yourselves. Go to your power, just whoever your power provider is. Look at planned outages and see if you have scheduled maintenance for the 15th. If you do, then you need to be prepared. You
So,
need to be prepared.
and
So yeah.
yeah, because I was going to add to that. I checked around a lot of Florida and I checked around a lot of Texas. And I want some people to verify this with me. But Florida and Texas really don't have those things. This is
Yeah,
a,
because whoever's pulling the strings, they're not going to take down their own power grid. It's if you own, like, you know what I mean?
yeah. So
Yeah, yeah.
if people in Texas, I think I saw someone in the YouTube chat. If you guys can verify that for me, if you guys have a time planned maintenance, because I don't personally, and my electric is a co-op, and I haven't Tampa. I didn't see anything really strange in the actual Tampa Bay. Like I looked around and I didn't see anything towards Orlando, but I could be missing something. So people, I know I have a lot of people in Florida. I know I have quite a few people from Texas. So if you guys could check that out for me, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because this thesis that I'm working on, I'll go into it after radio. So radio, I do appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing
Yeah.
sharing all of
I was
that
gonna
with
say
us.
one more thing too is you don't even have to look at scheduled maintenance, but if you just Google, if you turn on like the show me results in the last week, and you look up U.S. power outages or even just anything like that, look at the headlines as you go down the whole page. They're like high wind speeds, like across the board. It's like they're warming us up for like a massive set of power outages. It's like they're all the search results are within like a day, 2 days. It's like high winds puts California at risk. Old power grid puts so and so at risk. Like it's coming. And I mean also like Ryan Cohen, opening the place in Florida, Tesla's going to Texas. Like that may be like where America is for like a short period. Like that may be like our what do you call that in like the army? Like when you have a home base where that's where all the good shit is, and then everybody else is out like fighting. Anyway, yeah. So I think that's what's happening, you guys. I think Kenna, you and I can talk offline because I don't want to totally freak people out, but in terms of like who's doing this, why, what's the end game, I definitely have a lot of opinions on that, but it has nothing to do with stocks, and it's a little intense, but I can do it with Kenna since she's working on the mind map. But yeah, just get your stuff prepared, get food and everything, and do your own research. You don't have to listen to me. But also, like, one very, very last thing, like, we need to start rejecting this idea that people that bring up concerns, and like I've done it too, like um this when people fudge shill, like we're using words that they gave us to use to hurt each other. So, like, oh, don't, blasphemy, or like, okay, so fear mongering, FUD, shill, and not to say that we haven't had people use that on us and like it's been warranted to say that to somebody else, but this idea that if anybody goes against or somebody says, hey, like, does anybody see this thing? And it's like you're not allowed to say it. And if you do, you're like an outcast of some kind. That gives them so much power because now instead of facing, um, you know, it's just, and if we want to talk about like the Republicans and Democrats, like if somebody wanted to do something really nefarious or treasonous, now you only have to do it to half the country. And then if you can divide them, now it's a smaller group, and so on and so forth. Like, it's a great way to reduce the population size that you require assimilation from. So, I mean, I think we should all get away from that. I think it's been really harmful, and it's you're allowed to question authority, and dissent uh is patriotic. So anyway.
100%. No, 100%.
Cool. Thank you, Kenna, so much. But yeah, I'm gonna hang out because my sister's here. She's actually moving some stuff in, and I'm gonna help her organize some things. But I look, Kenna knows this morning I called her crying because like whoever's behind the psyops on the Twitter space, like they revealed themselves to me all at once, and it was like this person that I've been talking to for 2 weeks said this one thing, and then they kind of were like, hey, like we're all the same person, and you should be scared, and like I was like bawling, like I was so scared, and like I realized that none of my stuff had been shared. I realized that I've been yelling into an echo chamber, and it really frightened me. And so Kenna like let me cry and talk to her for like a half an hour this morning, and I felt alone. I was like, will anybody believe me? Like this is scary. And Kenna like listened to me, and Kenna, like I so much appreciate it. Like, and thank you for like letting me tell everybody, because I'm not out to do this to like for notoriety or be like, hey, I predicted that shit. Isn't that great? Like, I don't want anybody to get hurt. And I'm an American, and like if something is coming or somebody's trying to take our country away, like I want to fight, and I want everybody to fight alongside with me. Like this isn't going to happen to us, period. But we have to raise awareness, and we have to stop saying that this group of people are crazy. So anyway, thank you so much, Kenna. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime.
All right, talk later, okay?
I'm happy that your sister's there.
Yeah, I know. I was like, you need to get over here.
Yeah. No, we'll
All
see you
right,
around.
thanks, guys. All right, bye.
All right, guys. I'm catching up on YouTube right now. Johnny Rocket, I saw you hop into the Discord. A 50 super chat. What are you doing tonight? Thank you. Love all the individual opinions. It makes Bullhouse awesome. 100%. 100%. And that's why I wanted to bring Radio on, because she found something unique, and it kind of tied into a lot of stuff that I'd been researching, and I enjoyed talking with her today, and it did freak her out quite a bit. Plus what she was talking about at the end, like they have her address, they completely doxed her, like they sent her a present. Like what the hell? That is so screwed up. I almost, actually after last night, I'm terrified at this point, but whatever, it happened. I fucked up and it's fine. But for her, like, she hasn't put her address or anything out there. Like, it's very odd. So yeah, I don't know. If they cut off electricity or internet, they will punish a lot of innocent people, not just shareholders. John, I know what you're doing. Could suck. Yeah, no, and it's they don't care. It's not about the shareholders. They don't care. It's not about that. It's about power. Can't stop. By the way, wanted to let you know that all that supposedly it's not really a trucker shortage. Not yet, at least, on a whole supply issue. There's nobody working the cranes. Yeah, I did hear about that. I can't remember who told me, but somebody that actually works down the cranes or on the docks, and that there's just no workers. There's no workers to get the stuff off of the boats. So I think that's kind of insane. I did hear about that. Can't stop. Thank you. Derek, if you don't believe in vaccines, you don't believe in the science. Love that one. Yeah, right. What are some of the dates she's talking about? So Jake Brown, she was anywhere from the 13th to the 17th, but mainly the 15th of October. She was finding that there was a lot of different electrical companies that were doing planned maintenance or downage preparation, things like that. So October 15th, this is the main date that we're talking about. Like I hope it's just a farce. I really do, because I don't really want to deal with any of this. It's, plus it's my stepdad's birthday. Come on. It's my stepdad's birthday. We can't have shit on his, he's turning 65. Come on. That's not a way to go into the end of your, or the start of your retirement, right? So I hope it doesn't happen. I just hope. And I am trying to figure out a way that I might Like, it is his birthday, but I might try to figure out a way to do like a live broadcast to see if things go down, right? Maybe I'll broadcast the Discord. Like, if we can have a full day of the Discord, people constantly coming in and just talking or whatnot, just having it live to see if anything happens. Maybe. Might be an interesting thing. So if you guys can come up with something, I would greatly appreciate it. Forward operating face. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate that. Doesn't hurt to be prepared, plan for the worst, hope for the best. Exactly, Derek. Exactly. Like, that's what we've been talking about too, right? That's, we plan for post MOAS. We plan for any kind of crisis, any kind of downward thing. Because like I said at the beginning of this, if I'm wrong, the worst case scenario is that everybody is prepared. Everybody has, stock. They're able to keep stock, and, they know how to plant a garden. They know how to be self-sufficient. They know how to live off grid, And the worst case scenarios, that's the worst thing that happens if I'm wrong. If I'm, if they're wrong and nobody plans for this shit, nobody has food, nobody has their supplies, nobody is prepared to be self-sufficient, because unfortunately we do live in a world and a time frame where we are very reliant on technology, on very, here and now type products where we can just go to the store, we pay a few dollars and we walk out with said product, instead of, having to prepare to, raise livestock and, harvest food. So, I mean, it's, like I said, worst case scenario that I'm wrong, people are prepared. They become self-sufficient. And who knows, maybe they find a new hobby that they enjoy. GS, I do like her energy, following her now. Yeah, she's a fireball. 100%. She came into the space, into one of our spaces for Bull House a few months back. I will never forget it, because she'd maybe been on Twitter for like a day, and she hopped in the space, and kind of nervous, but we were having our crypto and NFT weeks and everything, so that's when we were, that's the kind of space she was into at that point. And so she came to talk because, well, she had just gotten her certification in blockchain and whatnot, and so it was just a very good friend. I don't think you can broadcast if you got no internet or electricity. But that's the thing. I'm saying, John. If I have electricity, I mean, cell towers and stuff would be down too. So I'm thinking like, okay, generator and, hotspot. But no, being in Florida, so this goes into my thesis here, because if you look back on, hey, Johnny Rocket, I don't know if you heard me. Thank you for the $50 super chat. You did not have to do that. A second one, really? I really appreciate that. Like, you're killing me tonight. You're absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, so my thesis on a lot of this is, and hi, Ghost Note, I see you. Florida and Texas were completely just obliterated in the market and in the media, right? They just Florida's crazy. They don't want to do anything, blah, 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 blah. Like, what if, this is a big what if, but, you have all these people from California, from New York, these big dollar people, moving to our states, these two states, and, they're relocating businesses, they're relocating themselves and their families to Austin, to Houston, to Dallas, to Fort Myers, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Tampa, you name it. Like, they're moving away from these places. And yet, I mean, you would think they would stay far, far away from these places, given the fact that the quote-unquote mainstream media says that we are cancerous and we're stupid, and why the hell would you ever live here, right? And so I have a thought that Texas and Florida will actually be safe from all the craziness. And are these vids being uploaded to YouTube or just live? They are, they're broadcasted live and then uploaded. Like I said, guys, the one from last night, I had to edit out something. So it will be up as soon as it's done. As soon as YouTube's done with it, it'll be back up. But yes, these are all uploaded onto YouTube. I don't know. Like, that's just kind of my theory, my thesis. And so if I can do a live broadcast for the 15th and have an all day thing where people in Discord or whatever just hanging out. Maybe I'll just put a music bot in there if nobody's in there, just to kind of see. And so people can kind of comment and leave a reaction or something just to say, yes, hey, checking in. Let's, this is what's going on, whatever. Or if you want to wish my stepdad a happy birthday, that's cool too. Those are kind of the thought process, because California, they have these weird things. Can you add AK? Yeah. Well, it's so okay. So there's a few different. So you also have to add Montana, New Hampshire, and a couple other states. There's a couple others. But yeah, but mainly it was just Texas and Florida. That was just like, you guys are fucking retarded. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my thought. Hearing 0 lendable shares for GME on eyebrow. They keep saying that. They keep saying that, simping on. I'm not going to say the last word of your name. Yeah, I keep hearing that there's 0 lendable shares, but it's, whatever. CIA left weapons in Afghanistan so Taliban can walk right into China and fight Chinese without U.S. involvement. CIA has orchestrated Taliban government since day one. Well, see, and that's the thing, though, is that China is working with the Taliban. That's the thing, right? China's working with them. I work for an electric company. We do schedule a lot of maintenance in September and October because of mild weather, so people at home don't freeze or overheat. Yeah, and that's yeah, Peaser. That's cool. That's good to know. People's faces off in Florida. It only happened once, maybe twice. There were some substances involved, Johnny Rocket. TPs though. That's a good thing to know too. I am curious as to. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's all wrong. I hope it's a farce, and whatever. But hey, still, you gotta stock up though. I mean, that doesn't change the supply shortage that we see happening. That does not change that fact. We know that, right? Like, I mean, you guys saw my tweet today. Like, the fact that Sam's is out of toilet paper. Why the hell is toilet paper running out again? Did we not do this last year, guys? Did we not do this last year? Please show me where either COVID or the vaccine has a symptom of that you just shit yourself. And that's why you have to buy a bulk of toilet paper. Like, I don't understand it. Like, if someone can break this one down, please show me. It still happened. I know it did, guys. I know it did, but it happens everywhere. There's a lot of places that happens. They just don't report on it. Leave our funny way of living alone. You guys are just jealous. That's what it is. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Citadel, do you want to come up and talk, or are you staying down there in the audience? Probably gonna stay in the audience. He's pretty pissed, guys. He's pretty pissed. All right. So I do have a special podcast tomorrow. Turbo from Nifty Ape. Yes, the very, very, very cool NFTs that you can put into like games and videos and just interact with them. Like, we are doing a entire podcast with him and his team tomorrow. Oh, hey KMO. Just Florida. It's not just Florida, GS. It's not just Florida, I promise. But yeah, so Turbo will be joining us. Probably some of the other crew from the Nifty Ape Nation NFT group will be joining us. And I did want to give you guys a sneak peek of my other little pet project I'm working on right now. Because, I don't have enough on my plate or anything. But I did start... Oh, hello. Don't move the Discord, please. Thank you. Stupid thing. That should be locked. I don't know why that's not locked. Communist and Muslim don't get along, kinda. Soon as the assassination on either side, it's game over. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. No, World War III is coming, guys. I didn't say that. I did not say that. I'm not putting that evil out in the world. But I mean, it is. We know that. We don't know how World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be with sticks and stones. That's what they've always said, right? All right, so this is the new pet project. So I worked on this last night. So this is Bullhouse's website as I'm building it. We have quite a bit on it already. I'm still waiting for 2 photos from my staff members, but I want to give you guys a sneak peek. And I have been able to figure out how to put the Bullhouse magazine on the website. So it's all in one place. I was very excited. So it's do a collaborate with Pi-Fi. Who is that? Can you send me that through Twitter? I don't know who that is. So yeah, and it works. It's very neat. So this is who we're hanging out with tomorrow. It's Nifty and their craziness. So that should be fun. Yeah, that's all I've gotten. It's everything. This is kind of still broken. So yeah, that is that. So yeah, I'm busy, but it's a good life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. That's for sure. And I'm hoping that a few other people will be joining in to work on the website with me for a little bit. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night, everyone.